Hello everyone, my name is Jesse. I'm an aspiring cinematographer. And because I'm an aspiring cinematographer, I'm always searching on what professional cinematographers do to be able to make their images look so good. And something that I've realized that cinematographers do and that I want to talk to you guys about is consistent lighting ratios. So what is a consistent lighting ratio? So first I want to talk about what a lighting ratio is. And a lighting ratio is the difference between a key side and a fill side of a subject. And just to remind you, or if you don't know, key side and fill side. The key side is where the main light is hitting on a subject. So my light source is coming from here, hitting this, and this is the main light lighting my subject, which is me. So this is my key side. And because this is the opposite of this key side, which is falling into shadows, this is my fill side. So key side, fill side. A lighting ratio is talking between the contrast of this and this. So what professional cinematographers do is keep a consistent lighting ratio. So between movies and scenes, they are keeping a consistent lighting ratio to make the movie or whatever it is they're shooting look consistent. This is done to keep a consistent look throughout the whole film, so one scene isn't too dramatically contrasted compared to the other one if the film doesn't need for it. Sometimes they do break that rule, but that is complete story basis or because it's a stylistic choice that they're trying to make. And one way they do this to keep this lighting ratio is a use of a light meter. So that's the main thing I want to talk about today, is why you need a light meter. And I didn't know how much I needed a light meter until I started using it and realized it's such an amazing tool to be able to keep this consistent look and make images look so much better. So what is a light meter? A light meter is, like the name entails, it meters light, so it reads the amount of light that's being hit on this dome, which is the light dome. And whatever falls on it, the amount of light that hits that, and it gives you a numeric value which you can figure out to be able to perfectly measure the amount of light. So without a light meter, it's really difficult to read the amount of light that's being hit. So the light meter I'm using is an analog light meter called the Sekonic 398. It's an older light meter, and it gets the job done. It measures light, gives you a numeric value of foot candles, and then it gives you f-stop, which you can perfectly expose your image by. There's more expensive light meters that go up to $500, $600, and if you just want something to be able to just get the job done, this is not a bad deal. It's around $60, but it gives you so much value because it accurately measures light and gives you that numeric value, which is super helpful when you're filming your scenes. There's no way of measuring light without really a light meter. You can kind of look at your camera and see if something's perfectly exposed or overexposed. With a light meter, you can numerically measure the amount of light that's being hit on the light dome. Then it gives you an f-stop, which you'll be able to perfectly expose your image. And with a light meter, I can perfectly expose the different ratios. So if I take a meter reading right here, I can see that I'm perfectly exposed at an f4, and if I take a meter reading here, I can see that I'm perfectly exposed at a 2.8. So because of this, I know that this side is going to be brighter for this, because I want to expose for the bright side. I can either use my camera to expose a little bit brighter or darker, but I know that this is what I want to expose for, and this is going to be darker. And if I were to expose for this side, I know that this side will be brighter. Now that I know how to get my meter readings, I can use that from scene to scene. Now if I go to a different scene, I'm not in this room, I'm completely somewhere else now, but I want to keep that consistent look. Now I know that my key side and my fill side is going to be one stop difference, so I'm able to keep that consistent look. And a lot of cinematographers do that. You see that a lot of movies, you have that consistent look. So now that you know a bit about lighting ratios, I'm gonna give 3 lighting ratio examples to see how much of a difference, you know, 1 stop or 2 stops, 3 stops of light really does to an image. And you can start to experiment about how contrasty you like your image and how to keep that consistent look. So you can keep that in mind, keep the lighting ratios in mind. The greater that difference is from key to fill side, you're going to get a more contrasty look. And the less amount of contrast you get from the key to shadow side, you're going to get a less contrasty look, and it's going to look more like a sitcom or more of a flat image than a high contrast dramatic movie. And there isn't really a right or wrong way, it's just what kind of story you're trying to tell. So a comedy, you might not want a super dramatic image where this is your fill side is almost completely black. and let's say you're filming a dramatic thriller, you don't want, you know, your key and fill side to be the same. To keep that dramatic tone, you might want this side to fall almost completely into shadow. So I hope this advice helps you out a bit more, makes your films look a bit more professional, or at least helps you get a better understanding about light and helps you think about light a bit more, because as a cinematographer, that's a big part of our job. So I hope that's the takeaway from my video, is to just make you guys think about light a bit more and how important lighting ratios and how you light a scene is very important. So I hope this helps. I hope this advice helps you guys out, and I hope to see your videos soon.